Social media platforms like Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter are the digital gore of our time, where millions of us share our thoughts, experiences, and identities. These platforms promise us security, encrypted communications, data privacy, and the ability to control our information. But is this promise anything more than an illusion? What does security truly mean in a world where personal data is commodified and privacy is more a political tool than a human right? In this video, we're going to explore not just the technical aspects of social media security, but its deeper philosophical implications. We'll examine how these platforms create the illusion of control of our personal data, how they manipulate our understanding of privacy, and how this reflects broader societal issues of surveillance, autonomy, and freedom. Let's start by diving into the core technical measures these platforms claim to offer. In modern social media, security often means encryption, two-factor authentication, 2FA, and insecure user management. But let's break this down and look at it more critically. Encryption. Encryption is the bedrock of what platforms like Facebook, WhatsApp, and others use to protect your data. Purely on paper, this sounds like a robust solution. Social media platforms use end-to-end encryption, E2EE, for forms of communications, meaning your messages are scrambled before they even leave your device and can only be decrypted by the recipient. However, platforms like Facebook or Instagram store encrypted data on their servers. The encryption keys are under only their control. If Facebook wanted to, they could decrypt your messages on their servers. Consider WhatsApp. Although WhatsApp is widely known for its end-to-end encryption, it still collects metadata, data about the communication, who you're contacting, when and for how long, and regardless of whether content is encrypted. This metadata can be used to build detailed behavioral profiles of users. Even encrypted data can be compromised through side channel attacks. For example, by using traffic analysis to monitor patterns of data flow, allowing someone to infer details about your conversations without even decrypting the content itself. Next, let's talk about MFA, multi-factor authentication. Multi-factor authentication is a security mechanism that strengthens the process of logging in by requiring two or more verifications, such as a password combined with the authentication code from an app like Google Authenticator. But the technical reality of MFA is that it isn't foolproof as it sounds. For instance, SIM swapping attacks are a growing problem. In a SIM swap attack, hackers trick a mobile carrier into transferring a mobile number to a new SIM card, enabling them to bypass two-factor protections if a victim's account is linked to SMS verification. Case in point, Twitter's 2020 hack, where hackers used SIM swapping to gain access to high-profile accounts despite MFA being enabled. Moreover, let's take a critical look at data storage. While encryption may secure data in transit, their platform's internal storage often falls short. Facebook stores data including messages, photos, and personal details in a centralized repository. Once the data on the platform servers is not just accessible to the platform, but could also be vulnerable to insider threats, or in the event of a breach to a militia actors. Consider 2021's Facebook breach, where actors gain access to 530 million users' phone numbers and personal data, a breach that exploited an exposed vulnerability in Facebook's API. These technical measures, encryption, MFA, and storage, while necessary, are far from guaranteed of privacy. In fact, they often mask the real issues at hand. We're securing data, but not autonomy. We're encrypting communications, but still not handing over the control of our personal life to these platforms. To understand why this is just more than a technical issue, we need to dive into the philosophy of surveillance. We turn into Michael Foucault's concept of the Panopticon, a structure designed for constant surveillance in which the watched can never know they're being watched. This creates a sense of anxiety, causing individuals to regulate their own behavior. Foucault argues that in modern societies, we not only need visible prisons. Surveillance is embedded in the very fabric of our social life. Social media platforms operate much of the same way. They present us with the illusion of freedom and control, but we are always being watched. Facebook, for example, collects and analyzes data from every single interaction you had on the platform, from every post, every comment, and even every search outside of the platform. But because we can't see this surveillance, we feel a false sense of privacy. The data we post becomes part of the digital Panopticon, constantly monitored by algorithms and corporations, shaping our behaviors and decisions without our full awareness. The idea of the Panopticon is also deeply connected to the loss of privacy. Privacy used to be seen as a fundamental human right, an essential part of autonomy and freedom. But as Jean Baudrillard argued in Simulacra and Simulation, the modern world has replaced real and substantive privacy with hyperreality, a simulation of privacy. Social media platforms create a safe space where we can believe we have control of our personal information, but in reality, this space they give us is merely an illusion. The very act of choosing to privatize something on a social media platform actually reinforces the power of the platform, and the platform itself decides the boundaries of privacy and data control. So what is the true cost of this security? Let's take a step back and examine the impact of this digital surveillance has on our lives. Common platforms like Facebook, Google, and TikTok aren't just collecting our data, they're shaping the way of our understanding of what is private, what is secure, and what is worthy of protection. The concept of security has evolved from safeguarding physical spaces and property to the abstract of protection of personal data. However, as the book argues, in the age of surveillance capitalism, these platforms don't merely protect our data, they extract value from it. Social media platforms functions as surveillance capitals, where users' behaviors, preferences, and interactions are tracked, analyzed, and monetized. Our online lives, once private and personal, have become the raw material for predictive algorithms, and we're no longer the control for the flow of our personal data. Take the most popular instance of this, the Facebook Cambridge Analytica scandal, where Facebook provided its users with privacy settings. It didn't disclose the full extent to which third parties could access and manipulate and use their personal data. The illusion of privacy was shattered when it was revealed that Facebook provided access to user data without any proper oversight or informed consent, which led to highly political misuse of data. The security users thought they had was, in fact, a farce. The true nature of privacy was never about keeping personal information safe. It was about managing consent and controlling the narrative surrounding how much privacy users could reasonably expect. At its core, digital surveillance shapes something far more profound than our security. It shapes our identity. In the digital age, we're presenting ourselves to the world. We are becoming that data. Every like, comment, every post feeds into an algorithm that reconstructs our identity based on what the platform wants us to see. This is where the philosophy of identity intersects with the reality of social media. Hannah Arendt argued that the human condition is shaped by our interactions with the world and our ability to act freely within it. But in this realm of social media, our actions are constantly filtered through a lens of surveillance, predictability, and monetization. The platforms themselves mediate our interactions, limiting our autonomy under the guise of security. We are not free to express ourselves in the same way we were at the advent of these platforms. We are constantly being shaped, nudged, and influenced by algorithms designed to maximize engagement. Our very influence, freedom of expression, is being commodified in the name of data security and engagement metrics. Sorry, Hulanoa Persa, you're hearing this. Where do I go from here? The illusion of social media is an existential problem, not just a technical one. It reflects a larger societal shift from autonomy to human submission, from privacy to surveillance. We need to reframe our understanding of security and privacy, not as something that can be given to us by platforms, but as something we must actively reclaim. In practical terms, that means being critical of the permissions we grant, aware of how our data is being used, and empowered to take control of our own digital identity. The fight for privacy is not just a technical issue, it's a philosophical one. It's ensuring that we, as individuals, can still have control over who are we in the digital space and how we are represented on the internet. Security in the end, isn't about protecting our data, it's about who's protecting our autonomy, our freedom, and our right to identify who we are with the mediation of an algorithm. Stay aware, stay free.